This is where the fun begins.
Jedi is something that came a little later. When we started building Jedis, we had a lot of Jedis, and we needed more and more Jedis. As we were doing them toward the end, we ended up with a lot of Jedis that looked like people that worked at ILM, with these short little haircuts and looked like they stepped out from behind a computer. And so I was saying we have to get more exotic Jedis, and so we only have so much resources to do these things with, but I do have Twi'leks because we use them quite a bit in other areas in the Senate and as background action. So I have a sort of a wardrobe and a setup of certain kinds of characters. So it was a way of reinventing some of those characters. And I had realized that we had a comic book that has a Twi'lek in it that is a Jedi. There's a whole series actually of her. And I said, well, why don't we put her in this? I mean, she's a comic character, but we'll just fit her in and have her be a background character because that's exotic. That's how the Twi'lek Jedi ended up in the backgrounds of these shots, was to try to use some of the work and effort that the guys in the comic book world had put into things and characters they had created.
And I've always leaned towards if we're going to create something, we should check and see if it existed already to the fans, because it has way more value if we bring that in. And It's like, why would I just replace it with something new? So if we're going to do an admiral, if we're going to do a big military leader, yeah, I could create a new guy, sure. But what about Thrawn? Thrawn is great. Thrawn is a character we all know. Thrawn has a lot of credibility. So then you ask yourself, is it right to use him? And can we use him in a way that's similar to the books? Or are we using him and it's going to go completely into left field? And there have been times when we wanted to use things from the EU, and I was like, yeah, but we can't use it that way, so why? I don't want to use it and change it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to use it and make it something completely different. That's rude.
Are you sure?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the OG Star Wars channel and Thursday morning's CAF chat. I hope this morning or the start of your day, wherever you're at in the world, has been good or great. If not, I hope that, you find your peace and stuff and it changes, because sometimes things don't always begin good. And that's just life. It's just life. But good morning from where I live at. Do you have your mug of CAF with you or your favorite drink? Because this is going to be a fun CAF chat. We are wrapping up A'Sharad Hett's lore. We're now in the beginning of the Legacy era, but we'll recap back into the New Jedi Order as we begin to tell the story or finishing up the story. However, I have a feeling that we might have to wrap up the Legacy era next Thursday. I think that once we fully get into his Darth Crate's, I guess you could say comic era, I guess you could say in Legacy era, where we see him in the comics, that might need its own little focus. But we are beginning in Legacy, and that is in Legacy of the Force and Fate of the Jedi, which Legacy of the Force is really nothing to do with him. But once we get into Fate of the Jedi, then there is. So we're getting into that. So welcome everybody in the chat. Please smash that like button. And yeah, and if you wish to become a channel member, if you're catching the replay, feel free to let me know you came and watched. And with the rest of this, the subjects, the topics for CAF Chat, we're going to get into a little bit of Ki Adi Mundi. He was also Crate's Darth Crate, or A'Sharad Hett. He was his master at one point, so one of his masters. So I think we did cover that just in general, but there is a topic about Ki Adi Mundi that I maybe wanted to discuss here. Just get into a little bit of his lore and what was established movie wise and even movie source wise. And then we will get into the cringe factor. So if you guys haven't been following me on Twitter or don't have Twitter, you may not know that Disney is now, again, the article is saying this is the first time. So you know how they do. First time we see this in Star Wars, for whatever the topic is. Well, they're saying it's the first time that this Luke is ever going to find out and about his mom, Padme. We know that's not true. So we're going to cover that for cringe factor. So welcome again. So let's see who's joining in. You know me, I like to engage with you guys. So when Sith happen, here but dazed and confused. Dazed and confused. Why are you dazed and confused? What's your confusion about? Because I am now dazed and confused to why you're dazed and it's about the hierarchy of canon. I see that. I'm correlating with that. So about the late 2000s, this is before TCW, Leland Chee shared the hierarchy of canon, which I think it was a mistake because it's an in-house filing system and of what the content came from. So like C canon is basically the novels and all that, and even like the shows and stuff like the Ewok and Droid and stuff like that. So C canon was that material, that's where they were filed at. And then G canon is basically the movie canon. So just all the movies that George created. They called it G canon because of George, G canon, but it's basically movie canon. And then you have N, which is non-canon. So stories that were just what ifs that had nothing to do with continuity, just but fun stories like Infinities. Those were the N canon or non-canon. And then you have S canon, which is the quasi-canon, or stuff that's partially canon but partially not. And you find a lot of like games in that canon, to where like if they are optional games of how you choose your characters, what sex type of your characters, and you build your own characters and you have your own story scenarios you can pick from. That is as canon, because how you play the game is not necessarily canon to the canon part of that story, if that makes sense. So that's what that's about. And ever since it was introduced and stuff, fans have been using it on like, oh, well, because it's C canon, this isn't canon to George. No, that doesn't mean anything like that. So because there's a lot of cross-fertilization between all of those, except for N canon, unless they do decide to bring N canon stuff in. So I don't know, maybe I confused a little bit more, but it's okay. You really don't need to know the mechanics of that to understand Star Wars. And then Tyrannozilla's here. I like your Death Star right there. Hello there. Fractured Filter, how are you doing? Good morning, Alora and chat. Remember, smash that like button, share the stream out. Yes, and thank you for sharing yourself. I appreciate that share on Twitter. Thank you. And I did catch Fracture Filter's live stream recently, so that was pretty good. I got a chance to sit and listen. And then let's see who's all here. And then Maz is here. I can never get enough of this intro. It's like a gateway into to invite those that are were curious. Thank you. I had fun putting together, and the outro as well. I wanted it to reflect, and I wish I had put more characters in there. I might lengthen it, but who knows? I think maybe I should just leave it alone. But I just wanted it to give like a highlight to these characters, movies, and EU and stuff like that, and different the different eras, the different time frames where they fall under and stuff. So that was fun putting together. So thank you, Gelderon. How are you doing? And then Iron Inquisitors here got a huge mug ready. Yep, I have my mug too. I'm not coming on because I've been getting people saying that, or my camera. I'm not coming on camera because I've been getting people saying that like it's blurry, what have you. And I think it's time for me to do another cleanup of my computer, because I have a lot of huge files on my computer because I do a lot of graphic designs, and so they have to be very high resolution. So I have to go in there, and then when I make my thumbnails, I do make them, most of the time I remember high resolution. So I have to go through and see which ones I need to delete because they're no longer, I no longer need them. They're obsolete. And then I have old video clips that I really don't need on here. So maybe it's because of that. I don't know. So, but I do want to get a new camera for this, so I'm not relying on the camera on my computer. So stay tuned for that. Upgrading takes time, and it's been a long time since I've just been ignoring the fact that I should get a camera. Howdy, Silver. How are you doing? And then Galderon says, after a decade of being criticized of doing the opposite. Yeah. Let's see here. There's a lot of things. So, the biggest thing right now with people talking about the Acolyte is Ki Adi Mundi. And again, this is just another example that has been ongoing and continuous for a very long time, since the Disney acquired Lucasfilm, or Star Wars, that these beloved movie characters especially are being bastardized or being changed, whatever you want to call it. I say bastardized because there's some things in the stories and stuff that really does not make sense to how George and how his company created these characters, right? And Ki Adi Mundi is just one of them. And you have a lot of apologist people like these Disney Star Wars fans and those who are sticking up for Acolyte, saying, oh, it's not a big deal. It was only told in the EU. So we'll get into that here pretty soon. But he's just one of many. So, people are acting like this is the first time ever that this has happened to a beloved legacy character, I guess you could say. But it's not. It's not. So I'm not surprised, but I like sharing the information anyways. For those who are not realizing what's going on, like people don't realize that they're already destroying Yoda's character because maybe people don't read their comics, don't get involved in their EU, like their novels and comics and stuff like that. They don't see that. But through the High Republic and through some of like the other comics that Yoda's in, there is some scenarios that I shared here on CAF Chat before about Yoda and how they're destroying his character as well. So they're bastardizing his character. So that's not new either. So people are like, oh, well, hopefully Yoda doesn't come into the Acolyte so they don't destroy or hurt his character. They already began that. If you've been a long time CAF Chat subscriber, I guess you could say, coming in every CAF Chat as much as you can, then you may have caught the times and the instances that I've talked about Yoda. So this is nothing new, but it's just showing it's ongoing. And they're going to do that because they are making Star Wars in their vision now. And that even means disregarding what George created. And however you talk about it, however you want to, I guess you could say compare and contrast, I guess you could say, because, that's what you're doing when you're talking about your compare and contrast. And whatever your approach is, fine. Share it. Go about it. No one's stopping you. I'm not here to stop you, unlike if however you want to share this type of story. So you go and talk about it, make people aware of it. And just remind everybody that this is not the first time this ever happened. It's not the first time. Okay, so this went kind of dark or sad, but let's move on. Brokeback Filoni. That's rude. Okay, I don't know what that was about. Ironic. Let's see. When he says that's, oh, okay, you're talking about that clip. Yeah, the Laura. All right. When he says that's rude, I hear Jar Jar's voice. That's funny. That's rude. Okay, I get it. Phony baloney. And I think his respect has, from even some of his faithful followers, has been falling. So it's quite interesting to see all that development. And let's see here. Yeah. And Mono Drew, hello, how are you doing? How are you doing? So let's see here. Thank you for the stream. Slowly building my EU collection, mostly Old Republic, but just started on Master and Apprentice, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Oh, that's nice. I have to finish collecting that series. That's one I did not finish yet. So I need to go on there. So if you're collecting those young readers, or young adult readers collection like Young Jedi Knights and a Master and Apprentice series or whatever, not Master and Apprentice. What do you call it? Is it? No. It's not that one. Because I think Master and Apprentice, isn't that Disney's? Isn't that Disney's one or no? Yeah, it is. So you're starting the Disney novel. I'm thinking of the readers one, Jedi Apprentice. Sorry about that. I was confusing them. So I guess enjoy Disney's EU. Let's see here. This is George Lucas EU, but have fun with it. Iron Inquisitor, very odd chance those Ki Adi Mundi for the they chose Ki Adi Mundi for the acolyte. Did they just do it for the meme? Why not Yoda, Yaddle, or Oppo Rancis? I'm like blah, who are established as long-lived. I know, that's the thing. It's like, use a character that has been established and lived through that time frame. I really think, and we'll get into this, I really think that they want to make him sound like a hypocrite once the Phantom Menace comes around. Like, people are gonna say he's a betrayer. He betrayed the order for not telling, or talking, or reporting, or investigating why those Jedi were killed, or what have you. Whatever the scenario is going to unwrap from, or why what the Sith did during that time that they revealed themselves already. So whatever is going to be revealed there, whatever comes out from that's another betrayal of Ki Adi Mundi. So now everybody's saying and believing, oh, well, he's already betrayed. He's already an asshole anyways, or whatever. I'm being hyperbolic here so a lot of people are already talking shit about him already, pertaining to the PT era and his character. So this is weird development. We're going to get into that. I'm keep on getting fully into that topic, but I want to wait. So let's see here. Dan the Man is here. So Ki Adi Mundi was just covering his own ass to stay on the council. There you go. There you go. That's what's going to happen probably, right? Arg, YouTube notification button doesn't do anything. Sorry about that. I know it's crazy sometimes. And just I haven't experienced this with any of you guys, subscribers. None of you guys have said anything yet, but sometimes you end up getting unsubscribed. So just make sure of the channels that you are subscribing to. Just be diligent and make sure that you keep the subscriptions you want. So, but that hasn't necessarily been happening on my account with any of you guys. Did you hear that? That's Darth Toby. He knocked something off my windowsill. Yeah. Like cats like to do. They take their paw and just like bat it and then it falls. Yeah. So, but anyways, Yeah. Sometimes that notification, sometimes it doesn't come through. There's some channels that I watch and I don't get their notifications when they go live, and I have that on. Um, so make sure if you want to get that notification, that the notification's on. OG Star Wars. Speaking of Kai, I recently learned that he, along with Newt Gunray, were played by the same guy. Yeah, pretty interesting, right? Um, and see, then do Disney Lucasfilm canon, which goes below in canon for being soulless nonsense. No, it's not even a part of George's canon, so it doesn't even belong on that list. Doesn't belong on that whatsoever. Hello, how are you doing, Matt G? Thank you for dropping in. Light side endings were always canon, correct? And then see with when Sith happens, dude, stop knocking stuff off my windowsill and that cat. Oh, I haven't seen Soul Assassin here. Soul Assassin, where you at? Where's my mod? Yeah, so Soul Assassin Darth Toby is raising hell, and you're not here to witness it, I guess. And then you're welcome for the clarification. Yeah. Tommy Doyle is here. Hello, how are you doing? And then Star Wars Toys. Good morning, everyone, and good morning to you. How are you? I got blocked by Rayside Disney Shill. Wow, well, that's not surprising. Thank you again for being in and listening. And listening while you, when you did, it was a great surprise. You're welcome. I try. I don't hardly listen to, and in fact, I missed Tim's stream yesterday, but he had something on his alternative factory, so hopefully you guys got to catch that. I don't know the topic, but alternative factory is about basically going back into the time, like when, like the 80s, 90s and all that, and all the beautiful pop culture stuff. So I don't know the topic they were talking and discussing, but that was live yesterday. I was gone. In fact, you guys, guess what? I went and did my first escape room kind of scenario. So I don't know if you guys heard about that or ever done that. So it's a topic. You go in there and you have to solve mysteries pertaining to that topic to find your way out and stuff. And so ours was about Dracula. So that was very fun. So we had a good time with that. And then I went out and had dinner with my friends as well that evening. So that's why I missed that live stream. And then I came home, laid on the couch, watched a video, art video. Yeah, I'm a nerd with art too. And almost fell asleep and then got up and put together CAF chat and then went back to bed. So that was my evening. So that was my day, or my evening evening or whatever. So that was pretty interesting. I don't know if you guys ever done an escape room or whatever, or if that's interesting to you, but that was pretty fun. Ted Clubberlang. I hope I said that right. You sure, Tyrannozilla. Let's see here. And let's go on. That old comment was just a comment on just intro of Dave's talking about taking from the EU. Yes, that was that old comment. What are you guys talking about? Like the video I shared? That old comment was just, that's a repeat of, I re-clicked on that. Sorry about that. And then money laundering. And let's see, the fracture filter. The Acolyte is doing so much damage. I think it's going to reveal Kenobi, but now towards the whole Jedi Order, it's insane. Who knows what's going to happen? I think a lot of people are just keeping an eye on it because they're watching the train wreck in a sense. And then Star Wars Scran is here. How are you doing? Hey, everyone. I'll catch the replay. Enjoy the stream. And let's see here. I remember reading the character Clone Wars guidebook when I was little, 9-year-old pre-Disney era, and learned more about Mundi. A lot of course, this is the way Star Wars is. So even the movie characters were expanded on more and more and more in the expanded universe. So, yeah. But I'm going to read through and we're going to get into Darth Krayt. And then we'll talk more about Mundi. So we'll talk more about him. So feel free to go grab any refills of your favorite beverage you have, and we'll get into that here pretty quick. All right, let's see here. Next, they'll have Plo Koon on his home planet with a high squeaky voice. Oh, that's funny. I know that's if they understand. I understood what you meant about that. That's kind of funny. The helium kind of atmosphere, I guess you could say. He can't play the George Shedd card any longer. Nope. He's trying to. Jedi Apprentice. Yeah, Jedi Apprentice. I had the brain fart there. And what's this? Hey, how are you doing? Do you include TCW in your EU canon? I don't have an EU canon, but I don't consider it canon to the EU. Let's see here. Did they make Obi-Wan in this one? No. I'm here and I've got some green tea. Awesome, Jim. Welcome, welcome. And Mr. Dystopia too, or Dystopian. And let's see here. Yeah, Master and Apprentice is Disney. A friend said it was decent. So, it's fine so far, but also picked a new Jedi Order in a compliment to. So reading that next. Yeah, I figured. I was confused on that. I'm like, wait, I'm getting this mixed up. I realized that. Better yet, if they don't use any characters already established. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. It's weird. Okay. All right. So let's get into this here. So what do you guys know about Darth Krayt or A'Sharad Hett in the Legacy era? So the Legacy era, we're going to recap and kind of go back, review the New Jedi Order era for him. Just to recap on that, because I think I covered it, but there's some things that I left out, I believe. But there's always stuff I do leave out because I want to build your curiosity, but I also want you guys to chat in the chat about it. Like, oh, I remember this. Or I remember that. Or, you didn't mention this and I thought this was exciting, blah, blah, blah. Because then it keeps the conversation going. And of course, I need to start making my little slideshows again because those are fun. Like I said, they weren't being compatible with StreamYard at the time for whatever reason. It wasn't allowing me to upload them, even though you can upload your slideshows on here. So, but it's updated since then, so I have to test it out. So maybe in the future, I will have, a little bit more visuals for you guys and stuff like that, instead of just pulling up a picture. And I'm not going to pull up a picture. So with that being said, what do you know about A'Sharad Hett or Darth Krayt, in the Legacy era? Have you guys read Fate of the Jedi series? Let me know what you think about that. Let me see what you guys are saying here. I'm just going to pick up a few more comments before we get into that topic. They made Keldor Jedi Master Egg and confirm he's not Plo Koon. Yeah, so he's not Plo Koon. That's the thing. That's fine, like using and making your own characters from the already established species. That's great. Just remember that those species probably have certain characteristics and only can breathe certain type of atmospheres and stuff like that. So that's fine. If they made the Keldor and made him oxygen breathing, that would be very, very weird. I had Master and Apprentice, and I feel that it kind of done no favors to the continuity at large. I can't say that for sure, or I cannot really confirm that either with you. Started reading the series, but didn't get too far with it. All right. Some people, I think that because it's towards the end, before the buyout, and that's the time frame where they're like encouraging authors to put TCW stuff in their lore. But then it's also because of that you start seeing them changing up the TCW stories that were encouraged, kind of like a retcon. But because they are mentioned, some people were turned off from reading that series. I stood with it. And it's so funny because they, in Fate of the Jedi, when they mentioned Mortis, like Luke talks about Mortis and saying Yoda's told him about Mortis and his father and Obi-Wan going, he never mentions Ahsoka. Nothing is mentioned about Ahsoka in this. So I find it very interesting that they did not mention Ahsoka. Like, I don't recall. And then when I was reviewing them again recently, I didn't see her name mentioned. So yeah, so they didn't mention. And then so yes, I did go confirm through Wikipedia, which right now is going through a big controversy on Twitter, on social media. So if you're following that big old controversy, Wikipedia is getting slammed for some BS right now. I've been blocked from them since this person, quote unquote, of color, Native American, questioned their approach on diversity, and they blocked me. Yeah, so I guess they're not that. And they're saying, yeah, they honor the people of BIPOC and stuff like that. But then they block this one. But, you know, it is what it is. So I went over there, and yes, she's not even linked to any of that material that was introduced into later EU material. So kind of interesting that that wasn't mentioned for her, or she wasn't mentioned, but that's what it is. Let's see here what you're saying here. Well, on Legends page, anyways, I don't know what that is. I blocked Wookiee. And then yeah, the next you visit Wookiee, Ashoka is never mentioned in later EU stories. Yeah. So Acolyte feels like the filmmakers took random pages from different drafts of scripts and stapled them together. You know, me and Soul Assassin were talking about that, and he was pointing out like different stories that he recognizes from the EU that seems very similar to what they're doing in different events or in Acolyte. So that was kind of, you know, like eye-opening too in a way. So kind of keeping track of that. Let's see here. And Acolyte feels like the filmmakers took random pages from different. I already read that. Yeah. So let's see here. So let's get into this and then see. Star Wars Marvel purists, welcome. Hail to the EU elitists. Sorry, longest stream ever last night. Still have the first CAF. The first CAF. Yeah, you really. That's fine. You really went to the topics that you wanted and all that. Have you ever collaborated with Anne, the Star Wars girl? That'll be fun. A fun stream. I've been on her stream before. We've talked about Star Wars in similar streams together and stuff, but no, I haven't really fully collaborated with her. Pretty, you know, I wouldn't mind doing that and stuff. She's pretty cool. I know right now she's with child. So congratulations to Anna. Have not heard of Wikipedia controversy, no longer on Twitter. Nothing surprises me though. Yeah. And hail purist, I'm allowed to call you that. And then let's see here. Yeah, Anna is a big Jaina fan. Yes. And all right, so let's get back into this. So, let's stretch. This is me from yesterday's fun that I had and dinner and all that. That's all good. Let's see here. Getting into this now. So we know that Darth Krayt went into the unknown regions during the New Jedi Order era, got captured by the Vong, got tortured, all of that, had learned about Vizier or knew about Vizier and got to visit with Vizier and stuff. And she basically left him. He escaped. So that's a brief recap of that. And then he escaped to, she kind of instilled the vision of a new Sith Order in him, I guess you could say. Then he went and to Korriban, and that's where he took the name Darth Krayt. And he took it after, basically the Krayt Dragon there on Tatooine, his homeworld. That's where he was born. He was born among the Tusken Raiders. His dad was A'Sharad Hett. His mom was Kashyyyk. And so he was basically human born as a Tuscan because Tuscans are not compatible with humans because she herself was a adoptee into the Tuscan culture and families. And so that's where her and A'Sharad Hett, who used to be a Jedi and left the order to be among the Tuscans. So just very, very short recap on that. There's more to that story, but I'm not going to get into that one right now. And then he reestablished the Sith under his leadership, and he was wanting to unify the galaxy according to what he wanted, of course, because you always know Sith is like their focus is like, I want to bring peace, but under my rule, basically. So there's that. It's like their purposes are hidden under the guise of peace, even though that's not exactly what they're doing, are reunifying, the galaxy under their image, but it's not necessarily a unification. You know what I'm saying? So they have that catch. Make it sound like it's something good intentions, but it's not. So people confuse that. They're like, oh, well, Sith always have good intentions. They just don't get along. So these are the apologists to the Sith and for the Sith, but it's all in evil machinations, I guess you could say. So unlike, the rule of two, or Bane's ancient rule, I guess you get diktat or whatever it's called, where there's just the rule of two at any time. There would be a rule of one over the many, but the Sith altogether are the one Sith. So that's basically what that means. A one Sith is all the Sith. It's not just two Sith at any time. And it ruled by the Dark Lord of the Sith. So that's the rule of one, the one Sith. That's the one Sith. And he's had a lot of pushback. So when he started getting into the holocrons and getting wisdom from all the old ancient Sith masters, he was put down. They looked at him like a fake, a fraud, except for one. So that's crazy how that happened. So let me see what you guys are saying here. And here, Sith Order would rather kill than to ally with the Order, right? And then see what's going on here. Yeah, Bane ripping into Crate is my favorite part. So hilariously good. Yes. So so there was many of them, but yeah, that they were just like making fun of him and all of that. So he did get a pushback, but he didn't care. He didn't care. He stayed on track with what he wanted to do. And we'll get into that further here pretty soon. Let me see here. But wait, we've already done the Sith, Disney Sith haters. Oh my God. Let's see here. So good stuff. Yeah, that was awesome. So good stuff there. Good stuff. And I know Soul Assassin did share with me a clip on that or whatever, but I'm not going to try to go scroll and find it. And oh goodness, he usually here right now. So hopefully everything's okay with him. And let's see here. Let's get back into this right here. And then so during that time of the Yuuzhan Vong, he did, encounter Lumaya, and then the former Imperial assassin that was trained under Vader and stuff. So, and she basically wanted them to take up Jason and support him, and they didn't really want to. They laughed at Jason for like the one Sith laughed at him and stuff. And however, Darth Krayt just allowed everything to happen. I guess you could say, quote unquote, allowed everything to happen with Cadus and the galaxy at the time. Darth Krayt basically had to still remain in a sense of stasis in a way because his body was overcome with the implants of the what do you call it? Those those Yuzhang crustaceans that are growing inside his body. What the hell are they called? I'm not getting it. I'm like blanking out on the name. Anyways, so he had to put himself in stasis. And so he had one, he had some loyal Sith followers that would keep him up to date on stuff like that. But he didn't mind Cadus because that kind of distracted from what his plans and him growing the one Sith. So he allowed Cadus, under basically quote unquote quote the rule of two in a sense, to do and distract the galaxy and stuff like that, so that he can still allow his one Sith to grow, so that he would be under the radar. So that was kind of interesting to see. Galderon says Wikipedia has several shakeups. They had major conflicts and purge during TCW pre-production that was tied to Filoni originally over canon classifications. Then again, their website changed. Yeah, so they used to be a source for everyone to go to without any problems, I guess you could say. And now it's like they have become so controversial that we're seeing just like more of that coming out. So that right there is the nutshell of it all. And let's see here. Oh my gosh, Lamaya had a light whip. Didn't you EU's guys know that? Why, yes, dumb shills, we did. Did you know that they actually work? Yeah, that's the thing. The light whips and stuff like that. And the difference between the ones established in the EU versus the one that they're doing now. So there's very huge difference, which doesn't make sense in the newer version, in Disney's version of the light whip. And I think, people who get upset for us comparing those differences and how it doesn't make sense, I don't think they know the difference, or they're just blindly following because they need to protect this product. I don't know. It's weird. It is weird. All right. So let's get back to Crate here. So yeah, so he is basically hiding on Korriban, which basically is a place of dark side energy. So he's hiding in the miasma of this dark side energy, where he can't really be detected because he's already blending in with that. And let's see here. I know that he made a clone of Jaden Core. And I think his Jaden Core's master was Kyle Katarn. And I think it was just a distraction, basically. So there's that little bit of story of making a clone here. And during that time, he was also able to keep, like I said, his operations and his grand displays hidden. And that's when basically, sorry about that. That's basically when Luke took a mission, or Luke, Ben Skywalker, and at the time Vistara Kai. She is part of the lost tribe of the Sith that got stranded on what's it called? Kashiri? No, it's not Kashiri, but got stranded and rediscovered. So so she is from that. And they during that time in that mission on Korriban, the one Sith stayed hidden, even though they knew of Luke Skywalker's presence there and stuff like that. So they were very aware of them, but Luke Skywalker in his mission was never aware of them. And he also had spies inserted into the New Jedi Order. So if you didn't know that, he had spies in there too. So that was very interesting. When I was looking over things last night, that was very interesting to see. And let's see here. Hey, it's about time. What's going on? Sorry, folks, I had a bad storm that cut power out till a few minutes ago. Wow. Dang, Texas is just getting it down there, huh? I was like, what the heck's going on? I'm like, I'm getting ready to talk about Darth Crate here. We're getting into Legacy era. and there is no soul assassin. So I'm glad everything's fine. Hopefully your power stays on. That was like when I streamed Monday, and that wind was like blowing like crazy. Let's see here. If Shakti were ever to have a Padawan after her late one died, perhaps it should be Togruta Ashla of the Bear Clan. That's an interesting thing. Yes, follow me. So we're recapping from New Jedi Order stuff, and then we're getting into the Legacy era and how Luke Skywalker took himself, Ben, and Vistara Kai onto Korriban, and he was so well hidden that Luke and his little band didn't actually find him or see him or feel him in the Force. However, he knew of Luke and them on Korriban. So that was very interesting. And then also how he made a clone of Jaden Core, and just little things like that. And also staying in stasis right now because of the I think it's obelisks. Yeah, obelisks, I think, or I don't know, those little seeds, those little bug seeds that are planted in A'Sharad, and so he's keeping himself alive through stasis during this time. Let's see. Oh yeah, that tropical storm was going to Texas. Yeah. So I'm hopefully everything's all good for you. And let's see here. And so we're getting now into the Abeloth portion of the story here. We're getting into the Abeloth portion of the story. So this is going to be very interesting. So if you read Fate of the Jedi, you know that the writers were being encouraged to put in TCW materials. I already covered that a little bit. And when all these authors, even like with James Luceno, when they were encouraged to do TCW stuff, it seems like they either were starting to retcon and change the story, or they just told it very blunt and moved on and never talked about it again. So it's very interesting how you can feel, I wouldn't say resentment, but not wanting to put a portion of this lore in their books because it has already messed up continuity, and they're needing to correct them, retcon and stuff like that. So it's very interesting with the Abeloth and the Mortis story here. And again, no Ahsoka was ever mentioned during this time. So it's very interesting with that. Let's see here what you guys are saying. Zana is a badass. Shin Hati is a reject. Shin couldn't even take out Sabine. Darth Zana infiltrated the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, also responsible for murdering several Jedi. Correct. I want to go back, and I left a tweet. So if you're on Twitter, or I don't even know, it's called X now, but we keep saying Twitter, and we keep saying tweet. But I left a response about finishing up A'Sharad Hett's character lore. May have to do a part 2 next week. We'll see, because we're already on top of the hour here. And then I'm asking, what character would you guys like to see next being talked and expanded on? Or what part of the lore? It could be planet, it could be species, what have you. So, with this wrapping up, what do you want to see? Or maybe what era? Like we just were talking right here about Zana here, Darth Bane era, Old Republic. So I'm open to requests. So if you guys are like, hey, let's go back into Old Republic, I want to talk about this character. Okay. So if I have enough requests for a certain character, hell yeah, or a certain timeline, or a certain species, or a planet, or whatever you want to expand on, I'm willing to say, okay, let's do this. So just putting a thought out there for you guys for the next lore conversation. We're finishing up A'Sharad Hett. It's been a while. It's been taking us a little while, considering that I had to, postpone a CAF chat or what have you. So, but his story expands from the Clone Wars all the way to Legacy era, like the end of Legacy era. And that's why probably it's been taking a while. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it whatsoever. Like he's got like his arc has a huge expansion, and it's very interesting. So Ma says, I need Asha Asha was the first seen in Attack of the Clones, and she looked like a young Shakti. My headcanon would be that that she may as well be the daughter figure to Torgruda Jedi Master. I get what you're saying there. Let's see here. Encouraged. The attempting to TCW into the EU was just fucks everything up. Remove that shitty cartoon and the EU continuity stays in harmony, correct? So like when you get into the Fate of Jedi, so once you do, that's just a warning. But you'll see, you'll see like these little changes that they were trying to make to correct them in a sense. Maybe to put harmony, I don't know, or maybe to slap Filoni in the face. I don't know. I'm just putting speculations out there. So let's not speculate, right? Because you never know whose butt you're going to hurt. All right. And then Shin Hati is another Filoni blow-up doll. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Yes, smash the like. Let's see here. And Soul Assassin, you missed out on Darth Toby raising some hell earlier. So he was in true form, and you missed Darth Toby. He was knocking things off my windowsill. Fractured, I agree. Let's see here. Some weirdo Disney fans like fucking cardboard cutouts. Gross. Okay, we're not getting into that. All right. That's too much right there, purist. All right, let's get back. Let's cleanse our palate here. Abeloth in the story here, Fate of the Jedi. So she basically, I think people liked her character. I think that she was very interesting enough for like EU fans to kind of tolerate this Mortis arc kind of bullcrap that was created. And this is where Luke and Darth Krayt basically team up, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. So in Legacy of the Force, one of my absolute favorite series. So Legacy of the Force and New Jedi Order, they almost tie in my absolute favorite series. In Legacy of the Force, Luke Skywalker was receiving visions of a dark man. And this is when Jason started turning. And we all thought, well, that dark man was, visions of Jason turning, so that, but it was unsure. It was very ambiguous. It was very like, we didn't know. It kept our minds just like curious on who this dark person was, this dark shadow, this dark man was, this evil man. And of course, Luke felt the same way. Well, we find out in the series, the later series, that dark man was Darth Krayt. So he was basically envisioned or showing himself in a sense to Luke, but Luke could not figure out who it was. And he had some little bit of influence in a sense. I want to break that down. I want to do a small video about how this dark man made sense, but how it didn't make sense. So if you're very privy to the series, both Fate of the Jedi and the other one, Legacy of the Force, then you're going to see, oh, wait, what? That kind of made sense, but it kind of didn't. So I want to go ahead and just, within this beloved lore that we love, the EU, I want to show this, compare and contrast, like, is this a retcon? Did they change this, but then it still didn't make sense? Did this flow seamlessly? So I want to do something like that. So that dark man that came to Luke's vision in Legacy of the Force basically was confirmed it was Darth Krayt. So we have Darth Krayt here that started presenting himself to Luke, and by the time we get to the showdown of Abeloth and them fighting Abeloth, Darth Krayt does, does help Luke Skywalker, which is kind of funny because Darth Krayt had so much influence. Like, he could influence the Skywalkers in so many ways that could have influenced the galaxy as a whole. So imagine going back to when we first started talking about A'Sharad Hett, when Anakin was under his tutelage for a short while because they thought Kenobi was dead. It's interesting when Anakin confessed to A'Sharad, and he contemplated, he reasoned with himself about, and even Anakin, about revealing this to the Order. And he's like, no, that's not my responsibility. Then later on, he's like, if I would have, when he's talking with Cade, and we'll get more into that, he talks about how he could have ended the Skywalker legacy. So very, very interesting here. Very, very interesting. So let's see what you guys are saying. The TCW parts stick out like a sore thumb in the stories like Night Sisters in Plagueis. Correct. Yeah, that was a turnoff. And so I like Darth Plagueis. Tim will say it's a good story. However, it is tainted by TCW. So, everybody has their feelings about that Darth Plagueis novel. And then Soul Assassin says, whoa, I will not stand for Shin Chick attacks. She won people over with her speeder video. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. They were playing Force hide and seek. Let me see here. Lafayette, oddly enough, he claims to be Sith at when Sith happens. Let's see here. It can be fixed if Darth Plagueis novel. He mentioned that Citadel of Ewoks were the progenitor of how Night Sisters came to be in the Dark Jedi made the Book of Law to multiple clans. Who is Shin Hati? Let's see here. Now Talon is, we got Talon, now she's being mentioned. I wonder if Krayt would have lasted long against Legacy Luke Skywalker in a fight. That's interesting. Because he was basically in a sense stasis. Like, he was still weak. That would be interesting. But then again, Skywalker got impaled by one of Abeloth's tendons or whatever, tentacles or tendons or whatever. So that's very interesting because we know that at the end of the story, and we get into Crucible, Luke Skywalker is significantly weakened in a sense because of that, and it was never like he's still healing. It was never fully healed. So that only gives us like, okay, so how did Luke Skywalker really die? And I'm not trying to stray from A'Sharad Hett's story. So we can only now just in our mind's eye figure, okay, so he was weakened. Maybe he lost in battle. Who knows? Like, he went down in glory. We will never know. We will never know. And of course, it's never shown to us like what happened even with Luke and Darth Krayt, if they ever had a second, because of the buyout. So basically, Darth Krayt became aware of Abeloth and her history with the Force entities. Basically, the ones are those beings from Mortis that basically they weren't Celestials, but I think they were created by Celestials of just beings who embodied these different elements of the Force in a sense. But that doesn't mean like the Father was basically is the balance, in a sense that it's gray. So I think that's where like Mortis kind of muddies. And then people think that the ones basically are these gods of the Force. They're not. They're just beings that embodied these different factions or these different views of the Force. So, and it was just a way of, and I'm not trying to be say apologist for Mortis, I guess you could say, but it was just a way of expanding on Anakin's chosen one, and his chosen one basically arc wasn't to be the father. Really, it wasn't really to be the father. It was to destroy the Sith, to create balance or restore balance, which is the light side of the Force. So that was an interesting, like, little story tidbit to see that, people were confused by, maybe liked, maybe didn't like. So did you guys like the Mortis arc that was created? So let's see here. Let's go on. And so Abeloth basically was a being so strong, and I'm not going to get into her background story and how she came to be. She could probably be another subject on CAF Chat, right? But she basically, in order to keep herself going, in a sense, she had to basically embody other people, other beings. If it's a body that is not, oh, and get this, if it's a body that is not Force sensitive, that body basically breaks down quicker. So imagine that. Remember this debate recently, like, everybody has the Force? No. In the EU, if she inhabited a body that wasn't Force sensitive, that body broke down quicker. That's why she was going after certain people, in a sense, because of their Force abilities. Their midichlorian counts, I guess you can say, if you want to go down that path. And so she did embody maybe at least one of the lost tribe of the Sith, and then other beings. So basically, she took over Coruscant, and during that time, she took over Coruscant and really staged and planted herself within the Jedi, within the Jedi Order, the temple there. Darth Krayt was basically, quote unquote, on Coruscant in a sense. So he, was seen several times by other Jedi or by Luke or something like that, keeping an eye on events. And when everything came to the climactic part of the story of finding Abeloth and fighting her beyond the shadows, Krayt traveled beyond the shadows, and he met with Luke Skywalker. And that's when they prepared to fight or confront Abeloth. And so he was basically, in a sense, identified as a Force ghost because they didn't know who he was at the time. Like, Luke really didn't know who he was. And I think Krayt was fine with that. But of course, just imagine Krayt had Anakin Skywalker as an apprentice at one point in his life, and now seeing Anakin's son and fighting with Anakin's son against this Force being, this very powerful in the dark side Force being. And he only decided to do that to get her out of the way, because she was not only a harm to the Jedi, she was a harm to the Sith, she was a harm to the galaxy. But of course, Krayt needed her out of the way because he had his bigger plans, right? So they fought against each other. He even fought Luke a little bit. And I remember reading parts of that, and, like, Luke's like, hey, wait a minute, we're not going to defeat her if you're going to be fighting me, kind of deal. And so they continued that, nearly destroyed her, but weakened her enough that she fled, in a sense. And that's where the Mortis dagger comes into place, where they need to find that. And there is a story that leads into Sword of the Jedi. It's a short story in one of the last insiders before Disney bought the company, and it's about Jaina and Jagged, and they're basically, quote unquote, on their honeymoon, but also she is also accepted a secret mission from her uncle for the Order to find a certain holocron. So very interesting story. I've been wanting to review this with you guys, so maybe we'll do that in the future. But basically, after everything was said and done, Krayt left Skywalker, or Luke, And Luke now knew about another Sith Order. So after that, he learned about another Sith Order, but still was unaware of who Crate was and stuff like that. So over time, so over those 100 years, I guess you can say, because we're going to get into Legacy era. So Crate's last hurrah, I guess you could say, when we see the one Sith, Crate grew and strengthened, and he grew the one Sith and stuff like that. So we're going to end this here and get into the legacy portion next week. Yes, I know, Soul Assassin. You're like, when is this going to end? But I'm pretty sure that you're quite happy that at least we have one more. We're getting into that story. You're going to see Darth Talon, all of his one Sith, and we're going to wrap it up then. We're going to wrap it up then because we need to get into these other stories here. Yes, smash the like button. All right. A circulating fan theory is that the Shin Hati will become Disney's version of Abeloth. Ooh, that's weird. That's crazy. I like nothing of TCW, and I own that series 1 through 5. Seasons 1 through 5. Abeloth drank from the and swam in the pool. Correct. Yes, she did. Same New Jedi Order Legacy of the Force. Oh yeah, those two are my faves. And let's see here. Different perspective, I should say. I'm reading upwards from the last chat, so I'm scrolling up. Kind of behind the stream, took a call. You're a John Jackson Miller fan. What about Karen Holt's background, both in Knights Errant's books and comics? Not big fan myself, but I like to hear a different take. Okay, so we'll see. So I'll take account of that one. Kara Holtz and other ones, and maybe we'll have a vote here on the platform here on YouTube, or maybe I'll just not do it here and do it on Twitter. I don't remember the TCW reference of Darth Plagueis. Yeah, so there we go. So we are finally getting into the Legacy era. Yeah, Knights Aaron was okay. I agree too. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. So it's like, it is what it is. Yeah. Hey, Keely Chow, how are you doing? We are finishing up talking about Darth Crate in Legacy of the Force and Fate of the Jedi. And we are moving on next week to Legacy Comics and his story arc, finishing his story arc. Very, very interesting. So Star Wars Legacy audiobooks, there you go. Thank you so much. So let's get into this next story here. And this next story, basically, before we get into cringe factor, shit, I don't have a book of the week. I didn't pick one out. Let me go just grab something off my bookshelf. Hold on. Because we do need to do book of the week. Book of the week. Let's see here. Oh, I don't know. Labyrinth. All right. So I don't have an image to share because I forgot to pick that out this morning when I was setting everything up. So you guys may have heard, but we are going to play the respectful clip anyways. Book of the week.
I hate to say it, but it looks like
Story.
the item you're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
All right, so here we go. Book of the week, Labyrinth of Evil, the must-read prequel to Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, by James Luceno. He is a New York Times bestselling author. And this goes into a lot of good themes, and Revenge of the Sith has some good callbacks to this book. And so I highly recommend this here. I'm not going to get into too much of the story arc here, but I recommend you pick it up and read it. There's also a trilogy with this. So you have this book, you have Revenge of the Sith novel, and then you have Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader. However, I'm not really recommending the trilogy. However, you could pick that up those three books together is a nice, beautiful trilogy to read together. So, Labyrinth of Evil, the prequel to Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Highly recommend this right here. And you get to see a lot of like more dark-sidedness towards Anakin in this book as well. Very good read. Very good read. Some people, well, I could say it might be mixed read for some. Some people like it, but more than none, more than I've spoken to more people that liked it more than anything else. So this music is so romantic. Let's see here. I got Labyrinth of Evil. That's cool. That's cool. So with that being said, I'm gonna include this topic in cringe factor. So as we move into this next segment of the show, feel free to go fill up your cups, grab a snack, or whatever you need to do. Soul Assassin says, funny thing is Labyrinth and some other books always get pulled on YouTube. That's crazy. Like they do the unabridged versions and YouTube pulls them. That's crazy. That is crazy. So let's see here. Okay, I have that here. All right. So let's switch into the next segment here. Let's see here.
I have fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
So uncivilized.
All right. So I wanted to break out into this discussion here regarding Ki Adi Mundi. So basically, he has been inserted into the series that happens in Disney Star Wars. Mind you, like I said in the beginning here, this is nothing new on how characters from Legacy or from George Lucas era are treated. So I wanted to touch basis on this because I think it's important to, talk about this quote unquote retcon. What is funny, and it's a very important thing to discuss. What is funny is, let me go ahead and scroll in and get some of these ads out. There you go. What is funny is people defending this decision by Disney Star Wars, Disney Lucasfilm, towards the Acolyte, is they're like, oh well, Legends is the spot where they share his age, making it like the EU was never valid to the movies. Forgetting that there are source material, like source development on the movie itself that states first where the age comes from. That's not EU. But let me expand further on this. So they defend it that way of like, oh, well, it was in the EU, so it doesn't really matter. Well, so was his species name. So was the planet name. But they kept that consistent. See how they're picking and choosing and how they're defending? Would they say that too with the species name? If they decided to change the species name? Or would they be upset? So that's the thing that I wanted to point out as well. is when do we start really drawing the line? Or was that line drawn already and they just keep crossing it with further destruction of these legacy characters? I mean, like I said, it's nothing new. Nothing new. So let's see what you guys have to say here. Here you go. I found one. I don't know what that is. Oh, with Labyrinth. Let's say here the Dark Lord trilogy. Yes, that's a fun one to read. What's not that's not Kai. It's his older brother Jake Mundi. Oh my god. Let me see. All right, it's his cousin. It's his relative from the past, right? It's his uncle that passed away. Mark Mundi. Let me see here. Better name for it. I like all the drama it caused on Twitter the last few days after Mundi's appearance. Oh my god, it's so crazy. And then some people are like, even though they are EU fans or whatever, they're still defending it. Like, quit being so dramatic about it or whatever. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. So like that's what I pointed out. Like it's okay with the age. It's okay with, whatever because of EU, even though it basically was a movie source developed material and expansion on the movie characters that gave the name of the species, the age of him, the planet. But with their logic, like if they changed the species name, do you think they would really defend that? Well, the EU said it, so they're just changing the species. So see where that's at. See where that how they're doing this. So let's see here. I'm trying to find my post. I've posted so many times on here since the last few days. So the Star Wars Episode 1 Insider's Guide. So this is the Insider's Guide to Episode 1. This is canon material. So basically is LucasArts published this on disc. And it consists of an exclusive look at the sights, sounds, and characters from Star Wars Episode 1. So like the sights and sounds are the movie, right? And characters are from the movie. This is not EU stuff. This is about the movie. This is like watching a making of, in a sense, which is talking about canon material and the development. So this is canon information basically for G canon. Let's see here. What's so hard to understand that the EU was always canon, hence why Disney decanonized it. It wasn't then when why would the mouse waste its time to do so? Right. Let's see here. So what I'm understanding is Ki Adi basically covers up the Sith presence in the show. That's gonna be the problem. That it's which way they turn on this last episodes, from what I'm hearing, it's going to present a problem going forward for his discussion about the Sith in the Phantom Menace. Got a case of the Mundis. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see here. Though I was not reading or playing games at the time, I vividly remember the books, games, and merch in the stores before 1999. The EU was and still is Star Wars. Correct, it is. It can never be changed. Can never be changed. I skipped over one. I like the way Melissa Lord put it in her essay Soul. Us OG accepted the Thrawn trilogy as the ST kids on playgrounds would be like, oh, never mind. This isn't canon, guys. That makes no sense. Yeah, that's crazy how that is. Got a case of the Mundis. I already read that one. Let me see here. Star Wars Marble Purse says, I like the... Oh, I read that one already. I thought it jumped on me. So let's get into this. I'm not going to get fully into this article, but this is by Louis Glazebrook, published like 15 minutes ago. It's not true because I pulled this up earlier. So this is basically the acolyte is causing controversy with the section of one section of Star Wars fan claiming it retcons canon by confirming Ki Adi Mundi was alive in the High Republic. And then, so this is all the recap here. So let's see what they have to say. The Age of Star Wars character Ki Adi Mundi is the latest in the long time of controversial topics raised by the Acolyte. Well, I mean, there's the controversial topics raised by Acolyte, but you also mean Disney, Lucasfilm, with the show apparently retconning this aspect of canon since the first trailer of the Acolyte Ki Adi Mundi has, ironically, for such a minor Star Wars character, been the focus of division. So, Ki Adi Mundi appears in the first chronological Star Wars movie, Episode 1, and insists that the Sith have been extinct for millennia. Well, he doesn't insist. That's a fact to them because the Sith made it a fact to them because the Sith hid and made it like they became extinct because this was a greater plan against the Jedi. And I think people are confusing that. The characters in this world see the Sith as extinct because that's how the Sith want them. People are relating to this as how we're viewing from the outside in. And so they're saying, oh, well, the Sith were never extinct, so he's a liar. No, he's not a liar pertaining to what is knowledge at the time. Like I said, the Sith made it sound like they're extinct, so he's not a liar. He is reporting the truth from what they know and what the galaxy knows. So it's not a lie. However, Star Wars mini stories make it abundantly clear that Sith were never extinct. Again, viewing it as a viewer from the outside in, the Sith made it as if they were extinct. They were hiding in plain sight to gain control of the galaxy. So that to the whole galaxy in general, they thought that the Sith were extinct. So it's not a lie. The controversy exploded further basically with Acolyte Episode 4. With Ki Adi Mundi making a brief cameo in the episode. His appearance not only resurfaced the arguments about his comments from Episode 1, but also led many to accuse Acolyte of breaking canon by changing his age. Yes, they broke it because in canon development, Episode 1, for character, the lore of the character, per Episode 1, he is 61 years old. He was born like 92 or 93 BBY. That is movie canon records. And so that's why that's why people are saying that it's a contradiction. But again, this is Disney Star Wars. They basically are not consistent with anything. And so people are like, oh, well, no, because that was put in Legends material, so it's no longer canon. No, when you have development of a movie and expansion within the movie about that character, that's still related to the character, still related to the movie. It's still canon to the character and to the movie. This apparent disregard of canon caused uproar of debate, speculation, evidence, and anger over the Acolyte blink and you miss it cameo. It's not a blink and you miss it. He's got a nice little long scene there, I guess you could say. The primary source of outrage from a section of Star Wars fan base, so the section of Star Wars fan base, so guess who that section is, right? States that the Acolyte has retconned the previous cemented elements of canon, considering the Acolyte is set in Star Wars High Republic around 100 years before the Phantom Menace. Ki Adi Mundi's appearance in Episode 4 confirms that he must have been born before this point in the timeline. No, it doesn't. It just means that you messed up his age. Let me see what you guys have to say here. It's like with Ventress, there's no reason he should even be in the series, correct? God, those costumes suck. I've been hearing that a lot. Oh, okay. So he sent me a video. Let me see. I'm not on Twitter. Let me open up my browser. Let's see here. I'm going in. Okay. Let's see what's sent to me. Star Wars Labyrinth of Evil, that video, or 10 years ago Disney murdered the EU? Let me see here. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah. Okay. I see it. I got it. It's like with Ventress. Yeah, I read that one already. And let's see here. God, this costume. I already read that one too. I thought it was moving faster than it was. Leslie's rule of two. Harvey is the master. Leslie is the. I'm not even gonna go there. I love how you every time. I love how every time Disney does anything, it automatically becomes the absolute truth, no matter what, and everybody else was wrong all along. And we're getting to it right now. So let's see here. 10 years ago, yes. 10 years ago. Yes. Yeah, so I seen that video here. Go ahead and share that video in the comments here, Soul Assassin. Let's see here. Good grief, even Disney's Pocahontas have better writing and message than the Apocalypse. And let's see here. So yeah, 10 years ago, Disney murdered the EU OG fans reaction. You know, I'm gonna play this, so I'm pretty sure Marvel Pierce doesn't mind, and then we'll move on into the next cringe factor segment here, or article, not segment. So let me go ahead and just remove this bullshit. Okay, let's see here. I wish there's an easier way to display these or share these stuff instead of having to click, 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 click. It's kind of annoying in a sense, but that's okay. Windows. Nope, that's not the one. Here we go. Okay, share. All right, so let's go ahead and check this out.
All right, so here we go. Melissa Natalie Lord, Professor Laney. I bet Professor Laney gave Melissa an A on this. We'll find out. We'll ask her when she's on. Why Star Wars Episode 7 should be Heir to the Empire. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, there were people who wondered what events would transpire after Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Now that the second Death Star has been destroyed, Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine are dead, and the Rebel Alliance has won the Battle of Endor. It was rumored that George Lucas had already come up with another 3 stories that could be made into movies. There were other stories, of course, novels that had been written about what happened between episodes 4 and 5, Splinters of the Mind's Eye by Alan Dean Foster, and what adventures Han Solo and Lando Calrissian had before the movies. But what would Episode 7 be like? When will they make another movie? And then I read a preview on the inside back cover of another Star Wars book for a new novel by Timothy Zahn called said coming June 1991 in the events 5 years after Return of the Jedi. In June 1991, Heir to the Empire was first published. It was the first book in a trilogy of novels that would continue to tell this story. The other 2 books are titled Dark Force Rising and The Last Command, with all 3 being New York Times bestsellers. Just to add, we went over the bestsellers list on those, and they were blowing the freaking record. They were blowing the roof off. You know, I think only like the novelization of like Return of the Jedi or something like that, and I'm assuming the other 2. I still got to do my last follow up on that, but those were definitely the best of the EU when it comes to the bestsellers list. They explain how the last Grand Admiral named Thrawn reorganizes the remnants of the Imperial fleet and teams with the Dark Jedi Sabaoth to create a new clone army, defeat the New Republic, and eventually create a clone of Emperor Palpatine himself. Thrawn also entices Sabaoth with having the chance to teach and mold a new Jedi as he sees fit. These new Jedi being Luke Skywalker and a pregnant Leia Organa Solo. Zahn writes, "There are no Jedi left," he murmured. "The Emperor and Vader hunted them down and destroyed them." "Not all of them," Thrawn told him swiftly. 2 new Jedi have arisen in the past 5 years, Luke Skywalker and his sister Leia Organa Solo. And what is that to me? I can deliver them to you. Zahn 53. This proves to be intriguing enough for the Dark Jedi. He wants more information. Zahn continues. For a long minute, Sabaoth stared at him, disbelief and desire struggling for supremacy on his face. The desire won. Both of them? Both of them, Thrawn nodded. Consider what a man of your skill could do with brand new Jedi. Mold them, change them, recreate them in any image you choose. He cocked an eyebrow. And with them would come a very special bonus because Leia Organa Solo is pregnant with twins. Zon 53, I'm assuming page 53. Getting Luke to finally cross over to the dark side and destroy him is Sabayah's ultimate goal. With these stories being #1 bestsellers.
So that right there, like going through just like Thrawn, like in a sense, talking with Sabayoth and about what he can do with Luke and his sister and the future twins once they're born, all this stuff. That is friggin' great writing there. That is like even showing how Thrawn, how evil and he is as well, and how he was in line with Palpatine. Many people are like, especially now that he's in the Disney lore, they're like, oh no, he's not like the Emperor. You know, he's really good. So they're making him sound like he's this good character, and he's just misunderstood. He's good. He doesn't have the same machinations as Palpatine or whatever. No, he has the same. He wants the same. His approach is a different because he's not a Force user. So people forget that, but he can manipulate just as well. He's probably a little bit more tactical in a sense, like that's why Palpatine admired him, and one is basically one of the few species that he really allowed within his circle, and of course one of the few, if only the one or only one, as Grand Admiral Thrawn, because he was very xenophobic, but because he could use Thrawn and his tactical brilliance, he was an asset for him, and then he honored him with that too as a Grand Admiral. Let me see what you guys are saying. Let me crip out of here. So that's a great thing. I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it at this. You guys go ahead and go listen to that. There's another about like 3 minutes left on this because it's like a 7-minute thing here. But you go listen to that, you know. So I did get to read through some of her, and I haven't replied back to her, so I'm sorry, Melissa, but I did get to read through some of this as well. So Maz says, yeah, the real Thrawn, not the loser Vron. Let's see here. Palps is a species just like Disney. And let's see here. Everything is upside down, inside out, and backwards, which what Marx did with Haggle. Smash the like button. Agreed. Good points. Thrawn's so good. Sardonic. Correct. And so I have people coming in. So hello to you. Save for later. Yeah. So check that out right there. Very good video there. Reviewing her essay there. So very good points she makes in there as well. So very awesome to read. So now we're going to get into the last bit of our cringe factor and then start closing down for the day. So we can all get on with our days and go and be and do whatever we need to do and be and, you know, what have you, if that makes sense. So this next one here, you guys would probably be like, what the hell is going on here? Let me see. Let me get out of that window and open this one. I had to, for whatever reasons, I have to open up this in a different window other than my main browser that I like to use because it was telling me I needed to log in and I'm not subscribing to Screen Rant. So let me see here. So let me get into this. So what do you guys know about how Luke Skywalker and his family found out about Padme being their mom, like the discovery of that? What do you guys know about that? And I kind of asked this question, or not asked, but I kind of like pointed this out on Twitter once I found this article, and I was like, possible cringe factor article. So I figured I would stay within the realms of the EU or George Lucas era versus, Disney, that compare and contrast kind of situation, I guess you can say. So we're getting into this. So what do you know about how Luke and his family finds out about Padme. Hey there, Star Wars Luke UK. How are you doing? Yeah, they watch the prequels. That's funny. And it's I've been and see, I believe I heard about the revelation, but I need clarification. We'll clarify that for you. And then cringe factor, screen rant, repeat offender. Yes. And let's see here. Hola and hell. All right. So hola here. Okay, so let's get into this. So I asked that question because I just want you guys to start thinking. If you read the material and stuff like that, that's cool. Let's get into this here, and I'll expand on it a little bit more. Wrong box, wrong browser. All right, so Star Wars finally gives Luke Skywalker a connection to his mother, Padme Amidala. So Star Wars finally, keyword finally, no, it has happened. It has happened already. And so they're making it sound like Disney's doing it again. Like it's first time. It's never shown before in the past. Well, how old do you think Star Wars is? How many years do you think Star Wars has been in front of the fans? So Luke Skywalker may finally learn about his mother, Padme. So, okay, may finally. Okay, so let's see here. Luke meets Sabe in Darth Vader number 47, Padme's former handmaid, and more recently servant to Darth Vader. And Sabe intentions are unclear, though she'll likely become Anna ally who can reveal key insights about Luke's parents. Okay, so here we go. So Star Wars is setting up a major connection between Luke Skywalker and his mother, Padme. So it's starting to set up. They didn't set it up yet. Keywords here. Having died shortly after they were born, Luke and Leia never knew of their mother. Due to their father, Anakin's having been corrupted to the dark side, the twins were separated and raised on different worlds to keep them safe during the dark times. However, it certainly looks as though Luke is about to finally learn about his mother between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So there you go. But if they do that between Empire and Return, that's lore breaking. So I said if. They're saying he'll finally learn. So or it looks like he will finally learn. So if they go that route, then that scene that everybody loves between Luke and Leia at the Ewok camp is now, the continuity is now broken there. Within Disney, not within George Lucas era, because that was well done. So in the Darth Vader, the Disney lore, Darth Vader number 47 by Greg Pak and Raphael Inco, Luke can sense his father, who's claimed new sources of power on Exegol. Fearing that his father may try to seek him out, Luke decides to put some distance between himself and the Rebel Alliance as a precaution. Just imagine that. Luke in fear, and so he distanced himself from the Rebel Alliance. And that results in Luke's reuniting with Morba Clap. I don't even know who that is. Blah, 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 blah. So he's meeting with a Force sensitive from Jedi who sent Luke a message about something he might be interested in. This turns out to be no other than Sabe. So that's where they find out. So here's this information here. He learns, or he gets to meet her. She tells him, I know your father. My father, his father, for asking and stuff like that. So basically but okay. So my question is here. How would Sabe know Anakin turned to Vader? That was a well-kept secret in the original lore. It doesn't seem like it's well-kept here in Disney. So here we go. Another thing, like, why would she know? Did Vader, and I don't know the comics. If you guys know the comics, correct me. here. But did Vader say, "Oh, by the way, I used to be Anakin Skywalker," bum, 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 kind of deal? So let's see here. So Sabe is looking to test Luke Skywalker. Does he carry his father's darkness? So we have this here. And then let's see here. Seeing how Luke's meeting with Sabe serves as the ending for this new issue, it's not yet clear how Luke will receive what Sabe's full intentions are. Having been searching for Luke for quite some time, it's unclear if Sabe intends to reveal is she carrying a saber. Why the fuck is everybody like carrying a saber now? And it's always fucking yellow now. So this is like that yellow saber that I reported on in a video not like a year or two ago. But why is it always this yellow now? What the hell? What's this fascination with this yellow saber? And have been searching for Luke quite some time, and it's unclear Sabe's intent to reveal all she knows and forge of alliance with the young Skywalker, or if she shall serve Darth Vader as she once did. So basically, they're coming to a conclusion that she can tell him about Padme. But how would she know unless I told her? Not Leia, sorry. Padme told her about about Padme. Like what I'm saying is like how would she know about Padme giving birth or whatever? I mean, it's like I don't know. I'm just like I don't know. I'm like trying to put all these pieces together. But how would Sabe know about everything unless Leia or Padme revealed everything to her? But I don't see her revealing a lot of things to her because that was a kept secret. That was a kept secret by by Padme, guarded secret, whatever. All right, so let's go on. It would be huge for Star Wars if Marvel's Darth Vader's eventually revealed that Luke received key insight and history about his mother. And then after all, it would be certainly reshape Luke's imminent Return of the Jedi conversation with Leia. So it would reshape it because he's like it, but it also changes. It kind of breaks the lore there. Having asked his twin sister what she remembers about their mother before he went into to confront his father of the second Death Star on the second Death Star, to that end, it's just as possible that Luke could learn more about his father from Sabe as well. Though the opportunities are quite big now that Sabe and Luke are finally face to face. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think that? Would it harm Return of the Jedi scene here? Because he even says, I don't even know anything about my mom. But if she's going to tell him about his mom, then why would he be asking Leia questions about knowing her and remembering her when he's like, oh, I don't remember. But by the way, I met her handmaiden and she told me a lot about her. There, Quentin, how are you doing? Let's see here. I hate to ask, but are you being serious or joking? Oh, I don't know what that is about. Let me see here. I'll scroll up. Let me see here. Star Wars yellow lightsaber. Thank you so much. And let's see here. I'm scrolling up, going through you guys' comments here. They do the yellow because it's the least used on screen and therefore new, but it's just dumb. Surprise, it's not rainbows. Yellow must be KK's favorite color or something. Who knows? Because yellow is a gender neutral color. That's probably what you meant. I don't know. I read the Vader one ages ago, but didn't read it all. Okay. Maybe Reva told her she would have told everyone. Couldn't keep her mouth shut about it. Let's see. And I remember they made a comic where she met Vader, but I don't remember if she knew or no. And that's the thing. I'm trying to see. It's like even Anakin turning to Vader, that was something that was a best kept secret there. They even like made it like Anakin died as a hero at the temple. But now it's like, oh, everybody knows. Everyone and their mother knows the truth about Vader, Anakin, it seems, right? And I see that, Soul Assassin. I'm getting to it. Ooch, this freaking yellowness of the lightsaber. And then let's see here. Does anyone read Disney comics? I don't know. Do you? I don't know. Screen cringe. Yeah, so there you go. So let's get into this history here. So this article made it sound like Disney is for the first time who Luke will know about his mother, or Luke knew about his mother. Star Wars finally gives Luke Skywalker a connection to his mother, Padme. So a connection. So Sabe is basically his connection or whatever. But they're making it sound like this is the first time that this ever had happened, right? Have you guys read Darkness Trilogy? That is where they find out they have the connection to Padme with them their whole lives of together as forming a family after the original trilogy, right? And that is basically R2-D2. R2-D2 was Padme's droid. She gifted, in a sense, to Anakin, or gave to use, because, you know, Jedi are not supposed to have attachments or possessions, basically. So she gave Anakin R2 as a wedding gift to use, you know, for his starfighters and all this other stuff. And since then, R2 has been very loyal to him. And in exchange, he gave her C-3PO because he's a protocol droid. So you see this nice little exchange and how they honored each other, I guess you can say. So R2 is that connection to the twins towards their mom. And they never knew it until Darkness Trilogy. So I'm making this connection. They're making it sound like this is the first time this ever happened and there was no connections to Padme whatsoever. So I'm breaking this shit down. And in Darkness Trilogy, Luke is like cleaning and going through like the deep memories of R2, and he ignites some information about Padme and begins to learn that this person is his mother. Gets to learn the back and forths between her and Anakin. And starting to get confused on like why Anakin is treating this woman, now his mom, this way. How Jason apologizes for it. And Mara and Luke looking at each other and saying, you sound like just like the Emperor and my father at the time as Vader. And finally getting to see what really happened between Anakin and Padme, and then having to go and seclude himself in this pain and started meditating and working through what he's seen, working through how he forgave his father, and seeing this new revelation to him, and thinking about this forgiveness, thinking about everything. So that read alone in Darkness Trilogy through the 3 books, or at least first 2, was so emotional. And such a good read in those portions of the book. Some people didn't care too much for Darkness Trilogy. And then me, I like it. I like that one. Especially for these scenes with R2 revealing. And some other scenes that I like that don't pertain to that. But that's when Luke found out about who his mother was and how his father treated her and how everything that happened basically basically watching Revenge of the Sith in a sense, in a sense, you know, but through the lens and the recordings of what R2 captured and stored in his dark or in his back memory, his deep memory. And he didn't want to reveal this to Luke. So he made it sound like he made it like a defect and stuff and try to hide that information from Luke. And Luke, you know, used Gant to help dig out these memories from him so that he can find out. So R2 is like, I'm protecting you, you know, and stuff like that, not wanting to reveal this heartache, this pain, all this stuff. And it's very, very emotional, very, very captivating. And this is Troy Denning. So Troy Denning wrote this and stuff like that. This came out after the PT, now that they could start using PT stuff, because Lucas was like, already expanded on that lore and that period of time and stuff like that, that now the authors can expand on it a little bit more. And so that right there. So when these people from Screen Rant write these articles, they make it sound like it was never done or approached before. They forget that, oh, wait a minute, Luke and Leia both still had connections to their mother, even though they didn't know it. And that's R2-D2, right? And that's even C-3PO in a sense. That's a connection to their past. There's always a connection to Padme. They may not have known it. Like when Leia gave birth to the twins and she's in her, and they're inside the Imperial Palace, I guess you can say, after, you know, they reclaimed Coruscant, liberated Coruscant from the Empire. There's this big, huge picture of a senator, and that's Padme. Leia didn't know it was her mom, but that's Padme. And so there's another connection there. And that's kind of like a prequel connection. And it is Padme, and the likeness of her carried on through when they brought in Natalie Portman for Padme. So very interesting stuff there. Let's see here. Luke, there we go. Here you go. Luke's learning about Padme fan rating. Yeah, so there you go. So very thing. So this is a part of the cringe factor. The part of the cringe factor is how they may continue to make it sound like this is the first time ever this being revealed in Star Wars. When I asked the question, how old is Star Wars? You know, so it's not the first time it's ever revealed. They just want people to think it is, because they want to show it as if Disney is, you know, expanding on this lore that was never covered before. And those who haven't read the EU will fall for this. And then maybe those apologists, that's a common word now, I laugh at it, but those who sit on the fence will defend probably this type of thing. There's people that do, and there's people who don't. And there's people like, oh, well, I don't even care. So you have these mixed feelings about this. But in reality, you know, this didn't happen first here in Disney. And it's just one of the many times I've shared with you guys, Disney claiming this is the first, and I debunked that. So it's about debunking this more than anything else. So let's see here. We're coming up on a closure of the show here. Let me read these few comments. Soul Assassin says, would be funny if Luke saw pictures of Padme and said, she's hot. Oh my God. Oh. Harking back to when he's seen Leia, right? Oh, Melissa Lord, hello. We reviewed a little bit of your article that Marvel Pierce had on his channel, reviewing your article. So yeah, it's pretty good. I love it. OG, you think they making lore, or OG, you think they're making lore to one day end the EU books and comics productions? I think so. I think that's the mission. I think they're just only keeping the EU in publication right now because it makes them money. I think it makes them more money than what their EU is doing, but that's just my opinion. Let me see here. Because the past sells, really, like the beloved stuff that was already made sells better. Leia was beautiful, good looking family. Yeah. Those without EU knowledge still believe Rogue One was OG Disney instead of the horrible EU bastardization of this. Correct. He thought. Yeah, I get. Okay, he thought Leia was beautiful. Good looking family. Yeah. Let's see here. Good thing Luke doesn't have access to a Dorleen machine. Let's see here. And they want the EU dead. It's not dead, but it's not being produced anymore, but I get what you're saying. If anyone in the chat has seen that animes, Card Captors, Sakura, and Attack of Titan, they feel more like Star Wars now compared to Disney. Wow, that's interesting comparison. So those who are interested in that type of stuff, go check it out. They're literally trying to kill old fan base. Shake my head. Yeah, there you go. Sub to United Spacers Alliance. There you go, you guys. So that's Cringe Factor. Book of the week, CAF Chat book of the week is Labyrinth of Evil, the prequel to Star Wars Episode 3. And again, that is the book of the week. However, I recommend the trilogy if you have a chance to read them together as a trilogy. Labyrinth of Evil, Revenge of the Sith novelization, of course, and then Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader. That right there is an amazing trilogy, and it gives a lot of insight of Anakin's turn, and they go together beautifully. Disney gatekeeping Star Wars from fans. Let's see here. Thank you so much. So this link is here. You guys can copy and paste it and check it out. Let's see. They are very much nothing like Star Wars, but I think that's his point. Yeah, there's like, it's like the nostalgic feel, I guess you can say, like the feeling that you get from Star Wars. It's probably the same. There you go. There's the Labyrinth of Evil audiobook right there. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Next week's lore will be the finishing up of A'Sharad Hett, Darth Crate's character lore segments that we've been doing. And we're finally in Legacy, the comics. So you guys will probably get to see Darth Talon. Maybe I will actually put together a little slideshow of images as we go along and talk about the One Sith, his creation of the One Sith, and how they basically purged the order once again under the Skywalkers. So this is going to be interesting chat here. So stay tuned. If you haven't, or if you're not privy to Legacy comics, feel free to dive into them. There are resources where you can find them for free on the internet. Dive into them. Very good reads. In fact, I think I'm going to sit down and read them again before next week. That'll be my read of the week. So if you guys want to follow along, the Legacy comics, let's dive in, you guys, because we are wrapping up that story. This is great. A'Sharad, Darth Crates, amazing story arc here. And then we'll move on to the next lore bit on what we're going to discuss, whatever that's going to be. So stay tuned for that. I'm super excited. I'll be on the space this weekend, or not this weekend, this Friday, after 8:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Don't have topics to share with you on that, but that will be released here pretty soon. So that's tomorrow. Man, already tomorrow. And then who knows, I might surprise you guys with another live chat. So we'll go from there. So thank you guys again for tuning in. You guys are amazing. And thank you, Melissa, for jumping in towards the end. Catch the replay. Thank you, Soul Assassin, for jumping in as soon as you can get connection. I hope that you don't lose out on your power. I know how warm or hot it can get down there. I'm just glad you're here with us now. And again, may the force be with you all. And I shall see you on Twitter and again on the channel here. So have a great day, and may the force be with you.
Prepare yourself for Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. The evil Empire has struck back with a vengeance, and a new villain, the crime lord Shizor, schemes to replace Darth Vader as the Emperor's second-in-command. With Han Solo held frozen in carbonite by bounty hunter Boba Fett, it's the rebellion's darkest hour. Now, join Jedi warrior Luke Skywalker, hard-charging Chewbacca, and go undercover with heroic pilot Dash Rendar and his booming Outrider. But can Han Solo be freed and Shizor be stopped? Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. Look for the authentic figures and vehicles from Kenner.
Another happy landing.